Alright guys, we have our last video that I'm going to do for you guys. That's a combination of a phase shift and a vertical shift. So again, when we're going inside of the parentheses, that's going to be a phase shift. So what's going to happen is it's gonna shift all of our values of theta by the opposite, so by minus pi over 4. So we're going to take all of our values of theta here, this should be theta, and we're going to subtract pi over 4 from them. So let's go ahead and let's go through this. Let's start off with 0. I think that one we can kind of do in our head. So 0 minus pi over 4 would just be negative, would be negative pi over 4. Let's take the pi over 2 and let's subtract pi over 4 from that one. Let's go ahead and do this work off to the side. So pi over 2, and I'm going to subtract pi over 4 from it. So I need common denominators. So multiply the top and the bottom by 2. So this becomes 2 pi over, that becomes a 4. So then 2 pi take away 1 pi on the top gives me pi, and keep the same denominator. So I get pi over 4. Whoops, let me fix that. So then for the second guy, pi over 2 now becomes pi over 4. Now let's do the pi. So let's take pi and let's subtract pi over 4 from it. So now this becomes, let's multiply the bottom by 4 to get the denominator 4 and the top by 4. So then I get 4 pi minus pi equals 3 pi over 4. So that's my next one, 3 pi over 4. And then now let's get 3 pi over 2. And let's subtract that by pi over 4. Whoops, you know what? Before we move on, I want to fix this guy up a little bit. Oh no, whoops, way too big. It's supposed to be a 3 pi over 4. Okay. Let's see, we need common denominators, so I need to multiply the bottom here by 2, so this becomes 4 and this becomes 6. 6 pi minus 1 pi, that gives me 5 pi, and then the denominator always stays the same, 5 pi over 4. And I believe this is probably just going to be 7 pi over 4. I'm noticing a pattern, it's going by 2's. Negative 1, 1, 3, 5, this is going to be 7. Oh, come on, we can do it. 7 pi over 4. And then now let's do the vertical shift. Let me get a different color for the vertical shift. Let's do green. So now what I'm going to do to all my cosine of theta values is now I'm going to shift them up 2. So let's add 2 to all of the y values. Sorry, it's going to glitch in. So 1 plus 2 gives me 3. 0 plus 2, that gives me 2. Negative 1 plus 2 gives me 1. 0 plus 2 gives me 2. 1 plus 2 gives me 3. And now let's go ahead and graph this guy. So at negative pi over 4, so like probably right about here, negative pi over 4, I have 3. So I go up 1, 2, 3, and there's that guy. At pi over 4, which is halfway in between pi over 2, it's going to be up 1, 2. 3 pi over 4 is going to be about halfway. And he's 1. And then 5 pi over 4 is about halfway. Go up 2. And then 7 pi over 4. It's going to be up 3. So 1, 2, 3. And then there it is. So let's try to make this. I don't know why it's not letting me do curves very well. It's kind of glitching right now. But that's what it should look like. And if you guys notice, each point goes back pi over 4 and then up 2. So back pi over 4, and this one's going to go up 2. Back pi over 4, up 2. All of them. So back pi over 4, and then up 2. Back pi over 4, then up 2. Alrighty guys, well that's how you graph that guy. I hope this helps out. See you guys tomorrow.